boy Billy Clint here. I got a first place deck profile. Bad thing is, I don't even know what the heck to call this crazy madness that I made. I've been doing some testing with it though, and it did well in testing. Played it today, went 4-0. Played Performage, well, PePe. Also played Performage Pendulum. Played Magician, Pendulum Magician, Madolche, and also played Psyframe. So I had some pretty good matchups today, and went undefeated. Basically, I'm just calling this Pendulum Magician Beatdown. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. See that Deadpool, so you already knew it was a deck profile. Alright, so 3 Joker. We already know what Joker does. I'm not going to explain the cards right now. I've been doing quite a few of these profiles with these magicians. I've been trying to splash everything into these magician decks. What can I say? This stuff is like really good right now. It's going to get better once Bosch comes out, but it's still going to tear up the format. Let's see here. 3 Wisdom Eyes Magician. I'm in the magician part of it anyway. Oafdragon times 3. Dragonpit. 2 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons. 1 Xiange Magician. 1 Nobledragon Magician. That is basically the pendulum portion of the deck. The whole premise behind the Pendulum Magician stuff is to make your scales. Well, this searches scales basically. You most likely want to search this guy and another magician, if you can. But this guy tutors into your other magicians by having this guy in the pendulum zone and another magician. What you do is you end up popping him, or send him to the pendulum extra deck. You get the special summon, well, not special summon, you get the put another pendulum scale up. So you basically have, this is an 8 scale, this is a 2 scale, and you go off from there. Now the beatdown portion of it is basically a beatdown, also a lockdown or whatever. But I played 2 Mechanical Hounds. If you guys don't know what this does, it's pretty beast. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it up there. While you have no cards in your hand, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. So 2800 attack, 1500 defense. It's really, I think it's pretty damn good in this format, considering a lot of the decks I go up against are pendulum based, or they play way more spells than traps or whatever, and this helps slow them down, lock them down. They can't play spells, so they can't pendulum summon or whatnot. So I have those. 2 Miss Valley Apex Avian. So Hound locks out the traps. The spells. Sorry about that. Miss Valley Apex Avian. You go ahead and read him. When an effect is activated, you can select 1 face-up Miss Valley card you control, which will end up being him. Return that Miss Valley card to its owner's hand, negate the effect's activation, and destroy the card whose effect was activated. That's monster, spell, trap. You want to negate whatever you want to negate. Miss Valley Apex Avian can negate that, except counter traps. But you see where I'm getting at. This guy locks out spells. This guy locks out spells, traps, and monster effects if you want him to. And last but not least, I played 2 Dark Simorgh. Dark Simorgh is a whole lot of reading, but you basically want to just go to the last line. The first portion of it tells how you can special summon this thing, but you can just pendulum summon it. What you want to see is this bottom portion right here. Your opponent cannot set any cards on the field. So a lot of the lockouts that I did today were basically Hound and Dark Simorgh. The reason why this is basically close to a lockout or close to unbreakable board is when this guy is up and I don't have no cards in my hand, I don't have to worry about the Raigeki Dark Hole or anything like that. And if your opponent doesn't really have back row, or if you've already extinguished their resources with Apex Avian, they can't set cards. So they can't set monsters, they can't set spells, they can't set traps. So this was blowout quite a bit of the day today. So that's that portion of the deck. Now let's get into the spells. Triple Pendulum Call. This is so good. I have a feeling one day it's going to get hit. It's definitely going to get hit. Basically, discard one card, go through your deck, pick out 2 Magicians. They can't be destroyed to the end of your opponent's next turn. So, what more can I say? This card is just nuts, stupid. Triple Wavering Eyes. This was actually pretty. This was pretty good too. It's standard now if you're playing in the Pendulum deck 2 to 3. Some people main 2, side 1. Some people main 3. I ended up having a Wavering Eyes war today. The one war I had, I ended up losing because he ends up chaining Wavering Eyes to when I was about to Pendulum Summon. Then I activated Wavering Eyes. He activated another Wavering Eyes. I activated another Wavering Eyes. And then he activated MST. So I was like, oh, boo. But this card, basically, if you have Pendulums in your Pendulum Zone, you can activate it, and by how many Pendulums are in your zone and your opponent's zone, depends on how many or what effects you can activate. And the first one, if there's one monster in the Pendulum Zone, 500 points of damage to your opponent. 2, you can add a Pendulum monster from your main deck to your hand. 3, you can banish one card on the field. And 4, you can add 1 Wavering Eyes from your deck to your hand. The way with Wavering Eyes, basically whoever gets Wavering Eyes and activates it and it resolves wins. So that card is just pretty nuts. As you guys see, I run a lot of level 7, so I ran triple Sacred Sword of 7 stars. You remove from play 1 level 7 and draw 2 cards. It's pretty awesome, but you can only activate 1 of these per turn, but it always benefited me. Triple Upstart Goblin. As you guys can see, I basically try to turbo through my deck to get to my boss monsters and try to make an unbreakable board, or a board that's really hard to get through. So that's that. 2 Wonder Wand. This is actually pretty impressive today. I would either have I either use it on this guy or this guy, and draw 2 cards. Plus, people forget that this card actually boosts up your monster by 500 attack, and I don't know if it does defense. Yeah, just 500 attack. So it definitely did put in some work today. Helped me turbo through. 1 Allure Darkness. This is specifically for Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. He is a dark. I don't know if I also got the Dark Simorgh in there just in case, but this was okay. This was okay. 1 Ignition Reload. It's crazy how this got an Igknight guy on there, but it's not for Igknight decks. But this definitely came in handy. But I did side it out a lot. So then Dark Hole and Raigeki. And that was my deck right there. Going to the extra deck. 1 Odd Eyes Metererburst. 2 Odd Eyes Vortex. 2 Odd Eyes Absolute. 1 Odd Eyes Rebellion. That was basically the Odd Eyes engine. 2 Castel. People didn't expect this for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because I don't know if people still like to run 101, but I'd rather run double Castel right now. Nothing more to say about that. 1 Trapeze, Abyss Dweller. Okay, so I made these today in a matchup. I didn't make it. Didn't make the Abyss Dweller. Didn't make the Emerald today. Made Utopia Beyond once. This guy's pretty good. Makes all my opponent's monsters 0. He has 3,000 attack, so it helps you win games. Big Eye didn't make it. I made this guy quite a bit. Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Basically, when your opponent activates the card while he has materials, they take 500 points of damage. When there's a pendulum-based deck that you're going against, this guy puts in so much work. I think The max that he did today was 3,500 damage on his effect alone. So I thought that was pretty nice. And a Draco sack. I didn't make that today either. That was the extra deck. Now I'm going to the side deck. Side deck was pretty okay. Nothing more I can really say about that. Let me just go into it. 2 Speedroid Minko. If people don't know what this is, it's been getting some play. It helps you from getting OTK'd, but this actually won me a matchup because I didn't have monsters on board. Opponent cleared my field, and I had Apex Avian, Simorgh in hand. I had my Pendulum Scales up, but he had Steel Swarm Roach out, and I had no way to get over it. And I had this guy in my hand. But what he does is, let me go ahead and get this stuff focus in. Focus. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card in attack position, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to defense. Crazy thing about Steel Swarm Roach is he has 0 defense. So my guy with 100 attack attacked him next turn, and then I set up, and then it was GG from there. But okay, focus up, focus. Are you going to focus? There we go. Next was 2 Great Shogun Xiange. I sided it in one time today. It was okay. It did what it needed to do. But in case you guys don't know from Samurai format, basically this makes it to where your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap per turn. So I had this up the time I did side this in, which was pretty nasty because it kind of reminded me of the Xiange, 6 Samurai Xiange and Great Shogun Xiange ordeal. So that's pretty cool. Message. 1 Dark Hole, 2 Needle Ceiling for Pendulum base decks, 2 Typhoons for Pendulums, 2 Stygian Dirge because I love this card right now. If you know your opponent has a deck that likes to exceed a lot, basically this makes all their monsters decrease to 1 level, and a lot of them can't handle that. So double Iron Wall, and I didn't see any Cosmo today, but I did go against Psyframe, and 2 Light and Prison Mirror. So, well, it was Psyframe Yosenju, but the side deck pretty much came in handy. I know I sided in this quite a bit today. I sided in one of those today. I did side in the Dark Hole. I did side in this stuff against that frame matchup. But a lot of the times I really didn't need to side too much. But it did well. So that's my deck. If you guys can come up with a name for this crazy jank, then hey, by all means put it in the comment section. I might take your idea and name it for this deck or whatever. But this is Mr. GG, aka Billy Clint, signing out.